Happy Thursday, and welcome to another exciting week of Let 'em Eat Laughs, the show where comedy, culture, and the culinary collide. My name is enoje. I'm your host, and we have a really exciting show planned tonight because, Let 'em Eat Laughs, usually we spend a lot of time talking about food, just food, everything that's great about the things that we like to eat, why we love them, where we get them from, who makes them for us, and the whole nine yards. But what's food without drink? So tonight is our very first wine time, and it sounds exactly like what it is, where myself and a group of feisty people are going to be sitting around together talking about all things wine, liquid, alcohol, the ways that we imbibe, the libations, the way that we wet our bodies, and the way that we have intoxicating conversations. My co-host for tonight, my celebrity co-host, if you will, is our own Lady Day. Now, some of you viewers might remember Lady Day. We had her on this show back in the olden days in 2021, in our summer season in August 2021. It's not as warm as it was then, but she always keeps it hot. Lady Day is a West Indian, or specifically a Jamaican Catition Canadian. And I speak with much authority when I say that she has about as many jobs as she does nationalities. Hey,
You're starting already, eh?
She's a professional speaker and a comedian and a therapist. Although you never know, she may have picked up a job as a mixologist or a professional wrestler or something when I wasn't even paying attention. You never know with her is what I'm saying. So welcome back to Let 'em Eat Laughs, Lady Day.
Thank you, enoje. So nice to join you.
All right, and now we're
I'm
going to
just
have a
making
few
sure
more.
I let my peeps know that we're live.
Yes, let your peep know that you're live while I explain that it's not just going to be the two of us. We're going to be having some lively banter with a few great people. We've got a good mix for you tonight. We've got a couple of comedians, we got a couple of dancers, we got a couple of, we just have an overall eclectic mix. Call me a mixologist, a conversational mixologist.
I love it.
That's what we're going to have with us tonight, because here at Bish Funny, I maintain that you don't have to be a professional comedian to be a comedian. We all have a natural funniness that comes to us, especially when we're around, good people having great conversation.
I quite agree.
Let's see who we have with us tonight. First, I'm going to bring to the Let 'em Eat Laugh stage Nicole Benjamin. Now, I love the way that I didn't tell anybody what order I was bringing them on. So if you're out there picking your nose or something, just don't, because you could be next, right? So this is Nikki B, who we've also had on Let 'em Eat Laughs before. Nikki is a professional comedian, among other things. And we also have Charmaine Headley, a great member of our community, and also a very challenging audience member at a lot of our comedy shows, which I love. So I'm just going to say right now that if you are a comedian and Charmaine Headley is in the audience, you better bring your A game, because anything can happen, and she makes no apologies for
And it's
that.
amazing. She's not heckling. She just has that face that makes comedians desperate to make her laugh.
Yes,
because they know they're not amusing her.
Yeah, she doesn't even have to speak. It just comes, it's just an energy that she exudes that lets you know when you're not achieving what your goal is, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, my face gets me in trouble. It has always did. So yeah.
You have an honest face.
A very
Especially
honest
my eyes. Is like, really?
Yes, there it is. There it is. And then last but not least, for now, because we may have others joining in later, we have Keija Gray, who is the host and director of Openly Gray Life, which is a podcast and a lifestyle channel that just tells you different ways that you can live your best life, like being in St. Vincent as we speak. Welcome to the show, Keisha Gray.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
All right, first things first, I'd like to know what is in everybody's glass tonight.
Well, I can start as co-host.
Thank you.
I've actually chosen a non-alcoholic Rose Moscato. And so that is what is in my glass. And I must say, it's tasty.
All right.
I'm
Nikki
enjoying.
B.
So
Nikki B, what about you? What's in your glass tonight?
I have a cup of tea, and it's actually just lemon, ginger, and honey. And that is because I'm a little bit under the weather, but I feel like it's an homage to my West Indian roots. We love our tea, and especially ginger. So that's what I'm drinking, some spicy ginger tea.
Very intoxicating.
yes.
What about you, Charmaine?
Oh, I have, and I can't remember where I got this wine from. It's an organic white wine, and that is mixed with coconut water. So, yeah,
Very
it just,
different.
it just, well, I'm very different sometimes. Um, yeah, it takes the edge off a little bit, at least for me. So
Is
it
it a
doesn't.
dry wine? I'm very curious. Dry or sweet?
This one isn't dry. I prefer demi-sec. But this one is a little sweet, so yeah.
Demi-sec. All right.
Yeah.
Words to live by. Keisha.
Well, in my cup, which says Jamaica good vibes only. I mean, I'm really about it's about the vessel. You know, the vessel is
I
important to
love
me.
the cup, by the way.
But
I
I
agree.
have everything local to where I am. So I'm in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and in here I have my local drink, my favorite soda, which is fruit cocktail mixed with some Sunset strong rum.
Whoo.
Sounds yummy. And Enoje, what's in your cup?
Well, in my glass, I have I can't really call it a Manhattan, even though that's what it's supposed to be. So it's kind of like a bootleg Manhattan. I tried to make it on my own. It's a combination of Canadian whiskey with something called like Martini Rossi, and then 3 dashes of orange bitters and a splash of maraschino cherry juice and 2 maraschino cherries, because I tend to like things on the sweet side. So
Yeah, you do.
I'm going to call this, instead of a Manhattan, I'll call it a Malvern, an homage to Scarborough.
Big up.
That's what this
Love
is.
it.
That's what I'm
It's a
talking
Malvern.
about.
Plus, I love the glass. I don't know
I
if,
love that glass.
if docents or people that know about this kind of thing know that, glasses, if they're supposed to represent like the shape of a woman's body or a woman's body that we wish we had. Like if this was my body, it would basically be the stem only. But I can live vicariously through the glass.
The minute you said the shape of the body, I'm like, I hope my body's not looking like this.
No,
Oh,
no. I know.
yeah, that's the male gaze for you. So the reason why I wanted to have this conversation too is because I think it's an interesting time for people and alcohol. It's an interesting time. Like laws are being passed and health regulations are being changed, and money is tight and alcohol is more expensive, and some of us are becoming more in line with our health, but then we're just coming out of a pandemic, or they say we're coming out. We're not even going to debate that.
No one's ever going to officially declare it over because nobody wants to be that person.
No, nobody wants the responsibility of
So we'll
that.
just stop talking about it as much one day.
Right. So what I would like to know is if we can go back in time to the lockdown, the days of the lockdown. Did you find yourself drinking more during lockdown and participating in virtual happy hours and stuff like that? Did that happen for you? Ooh. Okay, now 2 other
I don't
guests
think
have
I did any
arrived.
virtual
I'm gonna
happy
pop
hours,
you
but
right
I
in
did
here.
do some Zoom hangouts with some girlfriends where we had wine involved.
I'm just going to say I didn't even warn Susie that I was going to bring her on. So Susie just here combing her hair. Hey, Susie.
Hey, Susie.
Welcome, Susie. Susie is a comedy promoter
Shower.
and a hair comber. And we're just here talking about what our drinking habits were during the lockdown.
Hold on. Before we continue, Susie, is that a poop emoji stuffy in the background I see?
Very good eye.
That is
With
hilarious.
a
I
rose.
love that.
And it's
With
very
a
soft,
rose?
as you can imagine.
That is so funny.
3-dimension.
I've had smiley stuffies, so I'm like, I like emoji stuffed
Yeah,
animals.
yeah.
They're a great idea.
So corny. It was a gift for my dog, but I think I enjoy it more than she does. Her favorite doll is a stuffed pig, so it's just, I love it. I love
Fair
watching
enough.
her tear it apart.
So who's next to talk about your drinking habits during the pandemic? More, less, the same?
I think when I started out the gate, I was kind of hitting it hard every day. Like, I mean, it was like we're locked in. I was drinking every day, and then there was a point where I was like, I better get my life together here, because, I mean, once I thought the pandemic was going to last 2 weeks, I was like, 2 weeks of drinking, not bad, but 3 years of drinking like that, not so much. And couple that with the fact that I'm in the menopausal stage of life. It was doing weird, wonderful things with my body. And so I had to kind of slow that down. So let's just say I started out on fire and slowed down quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I did was would have a glass of wine. I don't normally practice drinking by myself. They say you shouldn't. That's how you become an alcoholic. But yeah, there wasn't much to do, so could as well. I would sit and cook and eat my food, but have it with a glass of wine.
All right, fair. What about you, Susie?
Oh, well, I wish I could enjoy alcohol in the same way. I have this condition that is popularly known as Asian flush. It's when certain people turn bright red,
Asian
and
flush.
the inside of their throat sometimes close up. But yeah, I have this condition. It's a gene or something that doesn't allow me to process alcohol the same way. So if I drink more than just like literally a sip of something, it'll affect me in a different way, and I don't, it doesn't. So I didn't drink in the pandemic, but I can say that like I can have like a sip just to know what something tastes like, but I can't like drink it. So even a shot, I can have just the taste of a shot, but I can't really drink a shot. So
Okay.
during the pandemic, I think the most I drank in the last 10 years, and that was like one of the monthly shows that I had, the very first one to celebrate. Somebody gave me a glass of wine. So I think I probably just carried around and spilt most of it, like by accident, but I think I probably had a sip or two of that. So that's as much as I can say I really drank.
Which begs the question of what's in your glass tonight?
Oh, okay. So I had this rule. I only drink water and tea, and then that rule kind of pandemic changed all of us. And I suddenly, over the last 2.5 years, I got addicted to Coca-Cola. So that's what I'm on now. I went from herbal tea to Coca-Cola, and I'm like, I can't even do caffeine well. But I was like, if I go back to coffee, that's going to be about 10 cups a day. So I can quit that completely just so I don't get that sliding. Yeah. So Coca-Cola, and it's a very strange thing. I don't know, but
Okay.
somehow works.
Now, just for the interest of our watchers, because I'm not trying to get canceled anywhere. I literally went on my phone to see Asian flush. Is that actually a thing that we could be out here saying? But hey, look, I found it on Global Health Watch and Wikipedia that says it's a common reaction to alcohol among East Asians. And the facial flushing was found to be a result of a deficiency of a liver enzyme called ALDH2.
That's
This
it.
finding was revealed in 1981 article in Lancet. That is what I have learned. So you can't say that we don't learn on Let 'em Eat Laughs.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go. Totally educated. You should charge for these courses.
We will.
But
So
no, yeah, like it's a condition. I don't have no idea why, but hey, my
well,
dad
Does
has an
anyone else in your family have it?
just my dad. Well, my sister, she turns kind of reddish, but she loves the drink, right? The only reason that she
Love.
slows down with drinking is to have her kid. She stopped, and then after that, while she was breastfeeding, that's it. But yeah, my sister loves that stuff. I toke, right? So I like my marijuana.
Mm.
okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So and she's the drinker, but yeah, and only one of us really inherited this weird allergic kind of thing.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I've been reading that the last few years have seen a huge boom in something that's called RTD, or ready to drink cocktails, or they also call them walktails, which I was like that because they're in a can, and okay, this is like the mother of all dad jokes, right?
Mhm.
Walktails, because they're convenient. And it's kind of like on the same level as boxed wines, things that you can just take with you. You don't have to mix them and do a whole lot of things. You just pour them out of a can. What's your opinion on those? What walktails? Do we love them? Do we hate them? How do we feel about these Smirnoff and Jack Daniel's honey in a can and things like that? What do we think about that? Which you set us off, Keisha, because I know you're a connoisseur.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Definitely not a fan of the canned thing. And part of it is that I also am trying to watch my sugar. So as I've gotten older, if I am going to drink any alcohol, I'm I'm a minimalist when it comes to chasers. So I just find that the canned things just have too much of what I don't want. So I started to call myself a bourbon bish, right? And so I stick to some really nice bourbons. And my favorite right now is Basil Hayden, which is a rye-based bourbon. I do enjoy that every now and then. Like they say, I enjoy it neat, which means one ice cube, a little bourbon, and that's it. So
Mhm.
that stuff in the can, yeah, it's cute, but not for me.
Not for you.
Mhm.
Okay, so bourbon bish. We're a bit of we're on the upscale level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good.
you get to your mid-50s and you gotta like, snoot it up a bit.
See, I
Meow.
have a bit of a different opinion because I live by myself. So some things I like about some things in a can is that I can purchase an amount where once I open it, I can comfortably finish it maybe in 2 days versus having a whole lot of it. So something like a bottle of rum, I don't care. It's open. It could take me a year to go through the bottle. If I want to have a glass of wine and I live by myself, that means that I'm essentially committing to days of having wine because chances are I'm only going to have one glass. So sometimes I like portioned things, not because of the walkability, but because of the portion size.
Nice.
That's
Mm.
fair. I feel like, I don't drink a whole lot. So if I'm going to drink, I want it to taste good. I'm not just looking for like a burn, I want it to taste good. So sometimes those mixed things, like, yeah, there's a lot of sugar, but it tastes good. And if I'm just going to drink one, infrequently, then I feel like it's kind of a nice thing to have once in a while.
Yeah, and this is the issue that I always have with wine. And I find a lot of alcohol is very much categorized, into like upper class and lower class and things like that. But I have no class when it comes to wine. I want my wine to taste like Kool-Aid. I do not care. I don't like, what did Charmaine say a minute ago? Like demi-sec and all of that stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm not
I
gonna.
was hoping to look that up later because I'm like, I've been on wine tours, I've learned some things, and I still don't know what demi-sec is. I was going to ask, like, in
Medium
terms,
dry.
oh, a demi-sec is a medium dry. So is that
Yeah.
like more Riesling or like Chardonnay?
Yeah,
Because I
but
know
there's
by
some.
age how sweet.
Yeah, I don't like them that sweet. I don't like. But Nikki B was talking about the taste. But for, I would say, the Caribbean people, Morby, like, I love Morby, and
Oh, me
Morby is
too.
bitter, right? I don't like Morby syrup.
Right. So Mabi is a boiled bark drink that we make in the Caribbean, and I like it sweetened. But when I was just in St. Vincent for the last 3 weeks, a little while like last week I was in the sun, and now I'm back here. But yeah, we were staying with a friend, and her husband was drinking Mabi with no sugar whatsoever, and I was like, how do you? I don't like Mabi syrup either because I think it's the integrity of the Mabi is compromised, but I can't have it without sugar. I'm not on that level.
That's medication.
Yeah,
That's
that's
medication.
Can I
pain
give True
stripper.
Talk's confession?
Yeah.
I was 8 years old when I found it was actually made from a bark. I thought my family was being facetious when they said it was tree bark. I did
Wow.
not realize all through childhood when I heard about this tree bark, I didn't realize it was actually made from a bark. I thought they were saying that because some of them didn't like the taste, and I certainly didn't like the taste.
No, and you
Because
know
I
what?
think I was introduced to it without sugar, which no.
Moby makes a great shandy. Moby and beer.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, it does.
Okay, see, now I need to try a Mobby Shandy.
Moby shandy.
And OJ, we're adding that to our list of one of our beverages when we hang out.
Writing it down now.
Mobby Shandy. Thank you for that tip, Charmaine. See? Look at
Anytime.
what we're learning, because clearly it's not just about the wine tonight. It's the wine and spirits and all beverages.
Yeah.
Debbie is on the chat telling us that she has Mobby in her cup as we speak.
Right.
There
So
you
we
go.
know she's having her cultural cocktail. I think the idea of shandies are so funny, where you don't like necessarily the taste of beer. So we do like a beer and juice or a beer and lemonade or a beer and Mobby combination. Christians love it. I'm just going to go right there and say that because my mother was always saying, oh, I can't have a beer. I'm a Christian. I'll just have a shandy. And then she's supposed to mix them together, but her shandy would be like 90% beer and then a splash of lemonade.
Oh, wow.
Right? Somehow this was not as sinful.
Not as bad.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
My mom used to say, "Oh, well, they don't drink because they were very Christian." My dad doesn't touch the stuff, obviously. But they would talk about how mom doesn't really drink because it's only baby duck. It's like what?
Baby duck. Oh my gosh. How 1982 is
Right?
that?
Yeah. And I was like, oh no. I remember growing up that. I was like,
I have not heard that in
I know.
forever.
yeah.
Baby duck.
For a while in my life, I was just like, that's not alcohol. It's not a drink. It's not the same thing.
Or
Oh,
like
my God.
Sarasota. Anybody
That's
remember Sarasotas?
I remember those like wine coolers. Was that alcohol? Those wine coolers they used to sell at like I
Oh
swear
yeah,
you
but
could
it was
get
like
them at, like
zero
Coolers or
7%
Yeah.
alcohol.
yeah, like point something, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So we seem to be bringing up a lot of different flavors now. And I think sometimes the flavors that you like say a little bit about your personality. Like, how does everybody like it? Like I already said, I like it sweet, but do somebody be just like hard or smoky or bitter or sour? Like, what would you say your preference? It could be for alcohol or any drink that you really like. What's your favorite? What's your favorite flavor?
I'll do a bittersweet. I'm
Bittersweet.
Yeah.
Give me an example. So like Mobby, that's what you mean, bittersweet?
Mobby. My chocolate is dark chocolate. I go for 75 to 80%. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's bitter.
So you know how to pair them. Like a lot of people, they go, "Oh, I like this," but then they'll, you can't do that. I don't drink. I'm just like judgmental. You can't do that.
And you can have the bittersweet chocolate and wine, and they kind of balances things out. You must try it. I don't call
actually
it
was at a wine festival where they gave us chocolate to pair with one of the wines. And the different notes in the wine that came out of that, I was just like, I don't know how y'all begin to figure that out, but I was just like grateful for the experts because I'm like, I tend to like an OJ, I tend to like the sweeter stuff, but I'm finding as I get exposed to more things, and I prefer white wine to red, partially because I think the tannins give me a headache sometimes in the reds.
Hmm.
But I'm now developing like a Malbec, a Merlot. There's some that I'm starting in the reds that I'm starting to like. And I'm finding that I'm not opting for as sweet as much anymore with the wines.
Right. Right.
So my palate is expanding.
There you
And then
go.
I'm a rum girl. I love rum. Like I won't even tell you a
Yeah,
lie.
I don't play with rum.
Damn.
Oh no. I miss Rum Diaries because
Dark
I was
rum.
trying to drink rum across the world in one restaurant. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
interestingly enough, because Enoje asked about our drinking habits during the pandemic. So True Talks, I had a very paranoid moment of what if I can't go to the grocery store and what if I can't do this because I didn't take the vaccine? So I went to the liquor store and I stocked up on liquor. And out of the things that I bought, I've only had one bottle of wine with a friend. Everything else is untouched, still there. I kind of forgot about it, which actually I should have realized I don't drink that much at home. I more drink when I have company. So at a time when I couldn't have company, why did I think I'd be drinking? So I stocked up and the stock I need to just have a party because I still have my
Yeah,
stock.
we're all here like, yeah, put your address
And
in the
her
chat.
address is
I still have a little bottle of vodka that I got from the front counter of the liquor store to use as because I paint and I also started making like chocolate things and food coloring, so I just use it as a medium. And so I've had, yeah, for 2 years I've had this one bottle, and people are like, aren't you tempted to just drink? I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to die. I love the taste of alcohol too, but I just can't. I can't do it.
Oh, and you make cookies too. You make cookies too, Susie.
Yeah, they go
Yeah.
together very well.
Oh no, you don't understand what Susie almost, had happened the other day when I was in a show with her, but I was looking forward to the cookies because Susie always has cookies at her show. So I was like, I cannot wait. So after the show, Susie gave me 2 cookies and I was just turning around to leave and go home when Susie said, "Oh, wait, NOJ, do you like green cookies?" I said, "I don't care what color the cookies are."
is that what you call it? Green when it's
Yeah.
infused?
Yeah, infused.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she was like, no, 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 they're infused. And I was like, oh, you're going to want to take these back. Like this would have been bad for everybody. I'm so glad that she asked before I got home because her cookies are so good. I would have eaten both cookies in the car on the way home.
I've never
Oh my
ever been
goodness.
able to do that because, like, one time my mom got high by accident because she stole cookies. Well, I'm divorced now, but when I got married, one of my friends gifted me all this like pain relief because I have a really bad back. So that's like eat a cookie, go to sleep, wake up, right? So she found them. She didn't know. She thought they were my sister made them. And so she goes, oh, your sister made these cookies. And I'm like, oh, really? She takes a bite. And she gives me, like, I'm like, okay, I take a bite. And then the whole day was just this drama unfolding. and then it was a horrible experience for her. I loved it. But she was like, she thought she was in hell and
Yeah.
Poor mama.
happening. And she was tending to a convenience store and we had to go and save her ass because she decided to lock up the store and then go sleep under the counter.
Oh no.
Yeah, and this older Christian woman in her 70s, like almost 70s. And then I felt so awful. But I was like, what a waste, because I would have really enjoyed that.
Man, we could have a whole show just about mothers getting drunk. That was my first thought, was that we always have the best stories about our moms doing wild things. But then at the same time, I'm like, I am a mom, so hopefully my kids are not out there talking about my exploits anywhere because that just doesn't feel as cool.
Like your pool dancing class videos and stuff.
Or like one time my mom was so drunk. I'll be like, how did you know about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that becomes a little less funny.
You can tell when your mom's drunk though, right? Like you can tell when a parent's drunk. Like if they're not used to if you're not used to seeing them that way and they're just like, it's an unusual, they're just like, something's wrong with you. I don't know what it is. It could be a good thing, but but it's different. So,
Nikki
My
B,
mom is
drunk
not
mom.
a drinker. My mom is not a drinker. I grew up in a household where it's like, I mean, I was never told like do not drink, but I was told like you shouldn't drink. It's not good for you. Like you can become an alcoholic and stuff like that. So I've never, I don't know if maybe I've seen my mom like take a sip of something, maybe, but drunk, never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, my mom's never had a drop of alcohol in her life.
Really?
Yes, my mom's never tasted alcohol, but like the same way she serves food big, she has a heavy hand when she pours alcohol. So you don't necessarily, some people want her to serve them, and my parents almost never carry alcohol in their house, but we're Caribbean, and so there's a very amusing story that we still love to recall about one of the elders from church coming to our house. And my mom had made sorrel and had made so much one year that she put half of it up. But because she doesn't know about alcohol, she had put too much rum in it. And so it fermented over a year with enough
Oh,
rum in it. So this elder from our church had come, or deacon, sorry, had come to our house for dinner. And his wife called her because she's like, so, Sister Halliday, what happened? My husband came home, walked in, greeted me with a kiss, walked straight into our bedroom, and is now asleep with his shoes on in the bed. Like he literally made it home and crashed
Oh
because
my god.
this very
wow.
strong sorrel had more of an effect than he realized and was probably still hitting him as he drove home.
Oh
And
my
pretty
goodness.
much he had a TKO moment thanks to
Mhm.
my
Yeah,
mom
I
and her
didn't
heavy hand and a year of fermentation on top of that.
I didn't know always that people put alcohol in the sorrel when they made it, because nobody was doing that in my house. When I learned
Same,
that going to a friend's house, like I thought
same.
you pour the sorrel and you can add alcohol if you want, but I remember going to one friend's house where I was like, wow, this is the best sorrel I've ever tasted. I must have drank about 6 glasses of sorrel and then I had to go lie down like, what is happening? That white rum has a kick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wine or rum can be used in sorrel.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard
Yes,
that. Yeah,
yes.
I still make mine without. Um, so on this journey, people are talking more about mindful drinking. What does mindful drinking mean to you? What does it mean to you, Charmaine?
I've never heard that term. Mindful drinking?
Yeah,
What the hell is
yeah.
that?
This is
That's
why
what
I'm
she
putting it to the group. They're like mindful drinking is
Mindful drinking.
I don't know, like, did you mean more intentional about thinking about how much you drink? Like I
Meditate
don't
on
know.
the glass as you drink.
Yeah, don't spill your drink, maybe is mindful drinking. Has anybody else heard this term?
I don't know. I
I've
know.
Oh,
never
I've heard
heard
it as
it,
a mental
but
health
I've never
professional. My
heard that
understanding of
term.
Well, let's
my
hear it from a
understanding of mindful
therapist,
drinking
maybe.
is kind of paying
Right.
attention to um not just how much you're drinking, your intention behind drinking, your purpose for drinking, and really kind of resonating with why are you engaging in this practice so that you understand. So really, so you have more control over what you're doing,
Hmm.
right? Like if you drink alcohol because you enjoy the taste, you may not pay attention to how much you drink and then you may become inebriated. Or maybe people are using alcohol as a way to suppress negative
Mm,
emotions. So to my
mm,
understanding from the mental health perspective is that mindful drinking puts you more in touch with what's your particular reason for engaging with the substance in order to be aware of, am I using this as maybe a self-medication thing? Is there an
mm,
aspect of this that is maybe rooted in something that's not healthy that I need to address and look for other ways to mitigate that without alcohol? Because those are some of the reasons people then increase their use, because
mm,
what they're trying to get out of it,
mm.
they might need more and more to accomplish that.
Well, I guess
Well,
I would say I drink. I don't even know if I can phrase it like this. I drink mindfully. Or I practice mindful drinking. I drink purposely. Um, if I feel like just chilling on the evening, I decide to have a drink, and that is just allowing myself, celebrating myself in this way. I'm not a smoker or anything like that. And well, as you know, as I said, I reduce the intensity of the alcohol. So It doesn't
Right, mixing.
give me a headache as right. So I would say that I drink mindfully, but
Well,
you know,
clearly, you're showing what thought you've put into it, right?
right, right.
Right. You're not
With
slurring your
knowing,
words or anything right
no,
now.
right now, no, I'm not.
Not right now. This gives me an interesting thought because I'm recognizing that we're all of us on camera right now. We're all performers here, and there's been a lot of talk about how alcohol gives us kind of a false or a chemical confidence, a synthetic confidence. I read where being sober allows you to build a more natural confidence. Has alcohol or any other substance played a role at all in your performance? And I don't mean that you use it, but some people, they say, I studiously avoid it when I'm performing. So does your use or avoidance of alcohol, is that a thought for you when you're in performance mode?
I would never ever think of drinking before performing. Never.
Never, because you're a dancer, right?
Right.
So you could
Yeah.
really be seriously hurt.
But if you decide to knock back a few and then start dancing, I'd like to witness that.
On the table, right?
That would be a festival of just yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Nikki B?
I never have drank before I've done a stand-up performance. I guess I actively avoid it, to be honest. I'm mostly a social drinker, and just the idea of like I want to go up there and like put out my best, and it would concern me that drinking may not allow me to do that. So I definitely actively avoid it if I'm going to be performing. Afterwards, maybe, but definitely not before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Susie, you said you don't use alcohol. What about your green cookies? What about anything else? You use those as tools for when you're performing?
Yeah, that's funny because I actually do where I will smoke like just a puff before I go into a show, and it kind of calms my anxiety and also helps because I have a ADHD condition. Like there's certain tools that work for me that might not work for other people as well, in certain combinations, and that's one of the things where it helps me to kind of channel like my focus and stuff. No, channel, sorry, focus myself. And then when that's done, then it doesn't really matter what. But in that moment, I have like a specific routine, and I go to prepare myself mentally, and then be like hyper focus in certain ways. And then like hyper focus not always a good thing, as you know, Lady Day. Yeah, but sometimes when you do that really badly and you don't have that, that's kind of dysregulation, right? So that's how I regulate certain things. And so when I drink alcohol, I can get to a point, and I'm not going to say I never drank or never got drunk, because I have, and I've been to a hospital 3 times over alcohol poisoning, and that's very little. So I don't really. That's why I say, like, literally, if I say I had a sip, I'm not being sarcastic or exaggerating. I'm actually saying, right. So when I had some conflicts, as I told you about with the police before, they couldn't believe and I couldn't get myself to say no, I didn't have a drink, because I literally remembered picking up a thing and taking one sip and so I'm trying to be honest, and I'm like, never be honest with the police. But yeah,
never be honest with
so
the police, she says.
they're just, yeah, sure, right. And so I ended up getting arrested and put in jail for 8 hours overnight. But it was like, when I drink, I get a point where I lose a lot of judgment, and I end up somehow with the opposite of some people get angry. I get very happy and carefree. So after I get that sickness and the redness is still there, but that I throw up, I get sick, if I don't end up in the hospital, it turns into a thing where I'm a happy person. So I'm very like happy. And then people think, oh, I can't have, but why is your face all swollen around? I don't care, ignore that, right? And so, but then I started learning as I get older and older, I couldn't handle that anymore. At first, when you're a kid, you're just like, I can deal with it. So I had to stop just doing that to myself, and just over and over. And the third time going in alcohol, but you just, fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. Come on, right? So.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've done a lot of things to try to learn about myself and try to self-medicate and all those things that you said. And alcohol was one of those things where I tried, but it didn't work. So when I do drink a little bit before a show, when I have that sip, it might just kind of make me feel a little anxious, like, oh, I might get sick, but not like, oh, I'm drunk. But when I got to the point where I used to play in a band and I would drink more than that, and it get past the point, I go to the washroom, get sick, I come out, and I'm still there, and I have to perform. I feel happy and good, but I don't have that focus. I don't have the judgment. I can't do anything really the way I want, right? So it's just sometimes and then I regret it, and then and it's like, why? I didn't have to not do that one thing, right?
You raised some good points, which is, I mean, besides just health, like it is a health reason, but there are many reasons that people choose not to drink. Health reasons, religious reasons. There's
medication you're on, counter
medication that you're on.
Yeah.
So I understand, Lady Day, that you're taking a break from alcohol right now.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about why that is, or what it is that you're doing.
So I am doing it for spiritual reasons, and it's not that I was drinking too much. I just had something that I was praying about, and I take a break. And so I asked how long. I got 6 months, and I was like, are you kidding me? Because that's bringing me into summer, Lord. That's my one time. But I decided to listen. So I just started last month taking a little bit of a break, and the funny thing is, it's in choosing not to that I feel restricted a little bit. Because if I were to examine my alcohol intake, I probably can go months without alcohol and never think about it. But it's the idea of, no, you can't. Now it's just like, now I become aware of all the times that I can. Right. But like, there's many times that I'm out for dinner with friends, whatever it is. I don't drink every time I am in a situation where I could have something to drink. So it's really just, it's not that big a deal. I just, funny enough, like, I had a moment of, Summer, are you kidding me? Like, but like, I'm just, when you asked about before performing, I've not really put much thought into it, because I'm the type of person where some people, and I think, enoje, you're one of them, won't eat before you perform. I just do whatever I do. So before performance, after performance, I eat, I drink if I'm going to have a drink. I don't think about it, because it's just, for me, none of that changes how I feel. Okay. I'm not drinking enough to change how I feel. And I don't engage with the alcohol in order to boost my confidence. Most people who know me know that I have a pretty big personality, and I'm the textbook or extrovert, and I'm nothing near shy. And so being on a stage is something that I enjoy. And I've always had, I always get nervous afterwards. Not as much now, but when I was younger, and I don't know if you knew this, enoje, but when we were in school, every single time I sang, I would then get off stage and become nervous, because I went to how did that go? What do people think? So everybody was all worked up before. I'd be cool as a cucumber. I would go and do my thing. Everybody's calm. And that's when I'm worked up.
Wild.
So I don't find that happens as much now, but that's part of why it's never been, what do I need to do in advance to get myself ready? Because for the most part, I'm cool before. I normally, my worry comes after, which I know is so random and weird.
Okay.
I've never heard anybody else say that.
Because most people, the nerves come before, and then you
feel better after.
Yeah. So I don't deal with a lot of anticipatory concerns. I afterwards then start to analyze and wonder what people think and all that kind of stuff.
Charmaine,
what about you?
Yeah. What about who?
What about you? So would you have a drink before getting up on stage to do a gig?
No. I would not. And I feel like maybe it's because I'm a little bit I don't know if analytic is the word I'm looking for, but I do analyze everything so much, especially my own behavior. Like, nobody can even really talk to me before a show, because people will be like, oh, you should have something to eat, you should relax. And I'm like, no, there's like a million things that I have to do, and I have to know. And also because a lot of the shows I'm in, I'm the producer of the show, so I have no time to be sitting down sipping anything before a show. I also think that it depends too on what type of drunk you are when it comes down to it. Because, like Susie was saying, some people are happy drunks, some people get sick, some people get mad. I have the unique position of being an extremely paranoid drunk. Like I am the worst. Like I should not even play around with getting drunk in public, because I always say if I get drunk, it's going to be a bad night for everybody at the club that night, because I'm going to see like somebody will like spark their phone, a light on their phone or something, and I'm going to scream fire, and I'm going to pull the fire alarm, and then I'm going to scream we're all going to die, and then I'm just going to go, like, it's always bad. Those are some of the stories that my kids should not hear. Their mom at university, like, rescuing people that didn't need to be rescued, grabbing things that didn't need to be grabbing. Just turn around and I will be like halfway running across the parking lot screaming, run for your lives. Like, it's never good.
Don't be
That
surprised now if you're out
illustrates the
and
comic
Susie with
book.
the drink and
It's when
slides
you
it away
become
from
that
you
superhero.
for fear that you've had a little too much, and we might have one of them paranoid episodes.
Yeah, so that's why I'm very strategic with my alcohol. Like, I'm never that person that's like, let's go get drunk all night long. As soon as I feel the edge of like, hey, I can feel this alcohol, I immediately stop, because yeah, we don't need to go there.
Right.
I'm exactly like you on that. Like,
Yeah.
I've never actually been drunk. I've been kind of tipsy. I've like been feeling the effects, but never actually been drunk. And when I've gotten to that limit, like I'm definitely an overthinker and overanalyzer of myself. And when I've gotten to that point, like I've noticed it where, yes, I'm looser and I'm talking more. And then inside my head, I'm like, you're talking too much. Why are you talking so
Exactly.
much?
Okay, I was just going to bring that up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'm like that too. I cannot turn off. There's a sober part of the brain that I cannot shut off. So that actually happened to me when I was sedated for surgery. And for whatever reason, after surgery, I couldn't make myself walk properly. So I was taking these big deliberate steps, and I felt like there was two people in my head, because the sober side was cussing the part that was making me walk slow, because I can't turn that part off ever either.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I don't drink to the point of being drunk. I got drunk once and never ever again. So
Once? Is
once.
there a story there? Because I'm like dying to
I
know.
know.
Remember it.
I remember it. I remember it very, very vividly. I was 8.
You said 8?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Okay, that is a story.
Okay,
It is.
you can't drop it there and leave it there.
Yeah, because now we're all like, 8?
Caller,
Yeah.
you say what?
Yeah. Rum punch, right? Rum punch is sweet,
Yes.
Oh, yum.
right? And to a child, it was juice. Yeah. So I was born in Trinidad. Half of us were born in Trinidad, half in Barbados. And our elder brothers were going back to Barbados. So there was this gathering. So mom said, well, I'll give you all just a little bit. So children, you can't just give them something that, piques their interest in that's different, but they don't know why it is different. So I had the rum punch, and then I went as a nice child and said, Mom, can I have some more? No. I said, okay. So I stood in the corner and I looked at everyone, and everyone was drinking and then putting down their glass. I went around the room
Oh,
and I
no.
kept filling my glass.
Oh.
And the next day, I vomited and vomited and vomited, and I had the worst headache. Never got drunk after that.
You got it out of your system early.
Totally,
Wow.
totally.
I had a feeling that I should have done that. More of us should have done that. Got it out of our system early so that we know not to.
Nah.
Around.
My grandpa, my mom's dad, he was very heavy alcoholic, and when my cousin and my brother were 3 and 4 years old, he yeah, he let them have some alcohol. My cousin, my brother walking around all little tipsy, and they liked it because it made them dizzy. It's like spinning, when kids spin in a circle and they go, whoa, right? So the more wobbly they got, the more they liked it. So it took my dad yelling like, no alcohol for the kids. But before that, and then my dad, grandpa's oh, they'll be fine. But one of them ended up like me, does not drinking, and the other one ended up very heavy drinker. So I mean, I'm glad you learned your thing.
It could go either way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like extreme or the other. Yeah.
I like to say to anybody that I think the cure for drunkenness is who you get drunk in front of. Because I know my last, major accidental drunkenness was just when did this happen? 2019. And I got drunk in front of my husband, and he has never stopped telling this story. Every time there's a social gathering, he's like, let me tell you about the time. And it was really, really bad, but it was profoundly unfair, because I'm just going to say right now that I'm going to send a shout out to all the Bajans out there, but we went to Barbados, and that rum punch in Oystons is not to be messed with.
Is it made with Mount rum?
I don't know. It was gasoline, literally, in this glass.
Okay, so rum. Because what is Mount Gay? Mount Gay is what, nearly 150 overproof or something?
It was not.
You have to ask Debbie. Debbie, can you answer that? Debbie has been writing in the chat.
Debbie,
have you read
on the chat?
No, Debbie wasn't able to get connected, but maybe she could tell us something about it in the chat, because it was ridiculous. This rum punch. I ordered two, one for me and one for him, and I don't even know how I drank mine, but he just took a sip of his, and then he was like, "I'm not worthy." But my mother was a Caribbean woman. We don't waste things, so I drank them both, and I have never stopped being sorry. I mean, it did not go well. Like
his cocks were wow.
Yeah, it was like here, it was there, it was like all of my pores. I think I threw up out of my eyes and ears. Like it was bad.
I know that feeling when you feel like that. You're like, is it coming?
Yeah, it was horrible. It was so bad.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you have to get up in the hot Caribbean sun and wash by hand all the clothes that you have thrown up, among other things, the night before. I learned my lesson. I should have learned that when I was 8. I would not have had that problem.
Yeah. Well, I literally had a coming to Jesus moment with my first and only really, really drunk experience. I've been tipsy enough.
Coming to Jesus. Okay.
I don't know if you recall this, enoje. We were at school. I was the year after you and I were roommates. So second year.
Didn't we go to Christian school? But you meant...
No, I meant in university. So my second year in university, I'd gone out, had a lot to drink, I felt tipsy. I didn't really know I was drunk, and had a christening to go to the next day, and woke up at 10 o'clock in the morning, still inebriated. And for some reason, hungry as all get out. When I tell you I made the biggest breakfast on earth, because I didn't get sick. So I had like bacon, eggs. Wow, that's going to show how long ago it was, because I ate pork at the time. I had this whole massive spread I made for breakfast because I was starving. And I remember praying that I would be sober, because I'm like, Lord, I can't go into your house drunk. Please, Lord, this is a weird prayer, but please, Lord, make me take the drunk out, because I need to go to church, because they're dedicated the baby and I'm still kind of drunk. It was the most bizarre. So I was like, yeah, I'm never.
But did it work? Did it work? That's if that is on the list of hangover cures and you could just pray it away, we need to know that here.
I think it was still time and lots of water.
I want to be drunk on Jesus.
No, I didn't want to be in his house drunk.
Oh my God. Mom used to use that analogy a lot. I'm like, what's going on? I'm drunk on Jesus.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like a common struggle of growing up Christian.
Yeah.
You know?
That was awesome.
Okay, so
it ain't the same, no.
What we're gonna finish up with is I'd like to get an opinion
Now there's an echo. There wasn't before.
Yeah, I did hear that. I'm like, why did that happen? But it went away.
It
Yeah.
did.
I'd like to get an opinion on what do you feel about the recent changes to the health code here in Canada? It seems like a lot of up and downs over the last few weeks where they tell us, 2 drinks a week is the most that you can have without, causing major health concerns. And now they're backtracking on that because I think the alcohol lobby has gotten at them and said, that's not fair. You're getting in our pocket and things like that. I'd like to know what do you think is a reasonable amount of substance that works for you. It may be nothing, it may be something, but I'm just wondering what we're thinking about alcohol and the role it plays in our health at this stage of our lives.
I would say once you know yourself, you know what you're capable of, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't drink to get drunk. Not that I did before. I just didn't know what I was doing then. But like I'll have a drink, maybe 2, depending on what I'm drinking. But yeah, I don't drink excessively. Yeah. So it's all about knowing yourself, being aware, self-control.
Okay.
That's my
what about you? Said, I think it depends on your state of health at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. So different for everybody then. What about you, Nikki B?
Again, I was never really a big drinker before, but I drink even less than I did, in the past. And I feel like health messaging is kind of messed up sometimes because it confuses people. Because on the one hand, they're going to say a glass of red wine every day is good for your health. And now, there's been research that came out, I think maybe last year, that is linking alcohol to numerous cancers, breast, prostate, things like this, like serious cancers. So for me, I mean, I'm not going to say I never drink. I don't really have that rule. But more often I don't drink, and it's for the health reasons. I think I don't really need it. It's not something I love to do. I really like a fruity drink that doesn't have alcohol too. So I'm more likely to choose that more so for the health benefits of it.
All right. Yeah. And Susie, I thought we might know your answer, but hey, we want to hear it from you.
Yeah, well, you might be surprised because it depends on the drink, because sometimes like some drinks affect me differently than others, right? So like maybe I could have a half a beer as opposed to like 1 sip of a shot of a vodka or something like that, right?
Right.
So for me, it would be different. I mean, like I don't drink now, but if I were to have to make that choice where I go, okay, I don't want to abstain completely because sometimes, I might enjoy it after, whatever, if I can deal with certain things. And so I would, in those moments where I feel like maybe kind of binge or whatever, I might twice a week or something like that. But where somebody might laugh at that, I go, twice, what? That's not even drinking, right? And then I was like, well, I really only drink once a year. But I mean, if I were to really go twice in a row in a week, that would be huge for me, right? So yeah. Whereas like I have very close friends that like they won't even sit with me without a drink in their hand, right? So like. Yeah, and I think like, and they're just, some of them are fine, and some of them just use it as a crush. But I don't really, that's for them to decide what their maximum is. But yeah, I've seen sometimes though where people think that they know a limit and they really don't. So I think like you're talking about the mindful. Think a lot of things. I mean, this sounds exaggerated, but when we talk about like the point where if you're holding a vacuum with one hand trying to scrub a dish with another and then just picking up a sip of wine while you're doing that's not mindful, right? So if you're drinking with the intention of you're going to relax and wind down, and then this kind of thing is one thing, but when you're just like, I need to get through this day, so take a sip and then go and do your thing while you're just drinking, that you could lose track of things like that, right? So you don't know how much you've drank or how fast. So I think that's in a way that you were saying that mindful drink is so important, and that's I think one of the only reasons why I was able to stop drinking was to I took a therapy class and I learned about mindfulness. So anything I eat, drink, or anything, I have to learn to be that way with, which I have to, and we're still working on that with cookies, but like for the most part. And so I think alcohol, when you have that issue, you automatically have to be like, whoa, okay, step back and be very mindful of everything, every sip that you consume. Sorry to be long-winded, but yeah.
No, but it's you raise excellent points. I mean, overall, you know, whether we're Christians or whatever religion or no religion, we can all accept that our bodies are temples and we should be mindful of what we're putting into them, whether it's alcohol, whether it's food, whether it's, you know, quality dark chocolate, or if it's junk food or what have you. It shouldn't just be, you know, going in. Like, we wouldn't let a stranger walk through the front door without knowing who they were. We got to treat our bodies with as much respect as we would treat anything else. So thank you. Thank you for this. Has been a great conversation. This has been a great conversation, ladies. I really appreciate it, and I know that our viewers do too. Before Lady Day and I let our guests go and wrap up the show, does anybody have anything that's coming up or that you're working on, selling tickets for, performance that you want us to know about? What's on the agenda for you? I know, Nikki B, you have a show coming up. You have a show coming up soon, do you not?
I do have a show April 24th called Comedy on the Avenue. It's at the Imperial Pub. That's on Dundas, I believe.
Where can we get tickets?
There is an Eventbrite, so you should be able to find it on Eventbrite.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's on my Instagram.
Okay, comedy on the Ave. We can find that on Eventbrite, or you're on Instagram at Nikki B.
Ms._Nikki B.
Ms._Nikki B. Okay. And what about you, Susie? Susie, what's next on the menu?
Okay, so I'm part of a sketch comedy group, and I've been taking a bit of a break from stand-up since last summer, and working on producing, and then I joined the sketch group. So Nicole was actually a guest on our show at one point. So, and I know, like, I call you guys all except Charmaine's. I've never been shared a stage with you, but I'm so happy to meet you. Yeah, my next show would be April 28th with the comedy group. So it's Asian infused. We have a diverse group. We have a lot of different people, but the majority of us are Asian. And you know how I'm sure you can relate to the fact that you sometimes you went around being in a white infused culture, you just miss being around sometimes the people that you can relate to, right? And
Right.
you know, so I really appreciate that. But then at the same time, I don't want it to be become an echo chamber exclusive thing, right? So we just want it to be just not just less. White isn't dominant, so we don't want it to be the dominant appearing thing, right? So we're just trying to, yeah. And so I really appreciate you guys inviting me to this, and thank you so much for having me, because I know one of these things just doesn't belong you, but physically, I could probably relate to you guys much more than
I think so.
really do. I enjoyed my time so much, and thank you so much, and I hope you guys.
I'm so glad you were here.
And I have to vouch for your show, Susie. Your show is really, really fun. Your sketch show.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the Crunchy Tigers is hilarious.
I know
I went the last
I even love what it's called.
I couldn't stop talking about it.
I don't know. You're a dancer, and you're just the high cut too. It's a different caliber than a sketch comedy show, right? It's so cap. So, but you do stand up, Natasha, right? So I don't run the show. It's somebody else's, but I can also always just be like, please book her. So it would be amazing if you're still doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what about you, Charmaine? Do you have anything coming up, or anything that you're going to that you want to tell us about?
No, I think there is a performance that I'm attending next week. One fellow dancer who's celebrating. I don't know if he's stepping off the stage. He's not clear as yet about that. Kevin Ormsby, and so his show is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yeah, but in terms of comedy, I just listen to hear when y'all are performing, and so I am new to comedy, and so yes, it takes a while in terms of some comedians, and then some other comedians, they just hit the nail on the head. So yeah.
All right. So thank you, Charmaine. That's our most generous comedy critic. So you can, warning everybody out there, you will see her in an audience near you soon. So thanks for coming, and we'll see you somewhere soon.
Thank you. And
Good night,
definitely,
care.
I didn't mean to. I keep forgetting that she's not here on the camera, but thank you so much. Good night, guys.
Good night. Wow, Lady Day, that was fun.
I know, and like the hour flew like that. Like that's
I
the
know.
great thing about great conversation. It just time flies.
Yeah. So I know you have a show. You have a show coming up soon too.
Yes, I have a show at the end of April on the 28th. It's called Art on a Tuesdays, and tickets are available at Art on a Tuesday or Tuesdays dot is it com or .ca? Let me double check that. I think it's Art on a Tuesday. It's Art on a Tuesday singular .ca.
artonatuesday.ca. So that
And
show is
it's
happening.
a series of artists, so it's not just comedy. There's going to be some R&B singers and some other stuff as well. It looks like.
And it just happens
And it's
to be
in
taking
Scarborough.
place in
So like
Scarborough,
finally, as
exactly.
somebody who lives in the East, I'm like, my whole comedy life is taking me downtown and west. I'm very happy to be doing something in the East End.
I'm very happy that it's being done in the East End too. Art on a Tuesday, whenever we can get culture performance happening in Scarborough, it's great, because I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to say that some of the greatest performers that Toronto is known for have come out of Scarborough.
Yes.
It would be nice if we could see them here too without having to travel so far to enjoy them. So
Yes.
yep, Scarborough.
But you can't even be there because you've got something that night.
Yes, that night I'm going to be coordinating a show with the Hub at the Brimley Hub at also in Scarborough at Brimley and Eglinton in the Healthy Scarborough space. And for anybody who's looking to enjoy comedy this month, there's also a lot of great things happening. I know the Nubian show is happening at the end of the month on the 30th.
I have my ticket already.
You have your ticket already? That show always sells out. So if you want to come and immerse yourself in what is funny and black and just an all-around good time, the Nubian show at Yuck Yucks is the place to go. Also on the 14th at Yuck Yucks, again, we're having the Melting Pot, which is also a good show where we showcase our culture by showcasing a good variety of comedians. That's happening at Yuck Yucks on the 14th. And also a series of shows that typically happen at the Real Jerk on Wednesdays.
Yes.
I'm going to be at the Pro Show hosting on the 26th, if I'm not mistaken. So just keep up with
got a busy April.
Busy
Especially
April.
the end of April. So you got the 26th, the 28th, and the 30th.
And the 14th.
Yes. Nice.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, that wouldn't be busy for most people. You know, for a lot of comedians are like, oh, I do 3 shows a night. But, I'm about that work-life balance, like you don't continue to love things if you get burnt out on things. So, yeah, I think April is a good month, and we're looking forward to seeing what the warm weather will bring.
Nice.
So thanks again for being here. And it's been another great Let 'em Eat Laughs. I want to thank everybody, all the viewers out there for being here with us. And we look forward to seeing you next week, or we'll see what life has to bring us. Have a good night.
You too. Night all.